go over to other tables at midnight, and they thought that's what New Year's is all about. We don't want to have our staff to tell our customers they can't do that, so they decided to cancel the whole event entirely, which is pretty sad news here in Cardiff. But of course, the Welsh Government taking a more cautious approach, perhaps, as the Omicron numbers continue to rise here in Wales. But now, of course, as we approach midnight, people will be stopping, the few people here will be stopping to bring in the new year.
Dan, thanks very much, and also James up in Edinburgh. Let's return to Katerina, who's in London. Katerina, not very long to go now. Are a few people coming out in dribs and drabs to market?
There are a few people coming out, and it looks like this is behind me, and you see the top of the Shard building, and there's some sort of countdown that seems to be on a bit of a loop, a countdown from 10 to 1 and then back to 10. So we might start to see something happening, a lot of people pausing. And if we want to maybe just zoom a little towards the end of the bridge, you can see how people are really trying to get any vantage point, not really knowing exactly where is best to go. They're sort of hedging their bets, really, and there's quite a big group of people who are now at the corner of the River Thames, so they've got a view not only of the Shard building but of Millennium Bridge, because, as I said, no official display. People have been told not to come down, but of course curiosity gets the best of a lot of people, and people just want to see where they're a good place to see whatever it might be here.
Thanks, Katerina. If you're just tuning our way, it is almost midnight and you are watching Sky News. We are counting down the last few moments of 2021. This is the picture in London where some fireworks are expected. Big Ben's also expected to chime. Let's pause to welcome in the new year.
As Big Ben's chimes ring out around us, signalling a year that...
Is that it? Can't be it.
I was going to say the council told you no, do they?
Well, I don't think that's an official count. It's something like both.
We go back to Katerina.
Anyone say?
The word spectacular, like I said.
Must be more else. I've not heard.
Well, we were promised lights and some fireworks. Not as entirely spectacular as some might have expected, but it was meant to be cancelled in its entirety initially. Let's cross back to Caterina Vitozzi, who's down on the banks of the Thames for us. Not far from the Shard, Caterina, which has been, its tip has been glowing different colours. We saw the countdown there and we heard the bongs of Big Ben. But the spectacular and the lights and the fireworks, they're being spread out across London, aren't they, Caterina?
Yeah, and I think that is something very tactical by organisers. They wanted to avoid large groups of people in one place. I think, though, as you might be able to hear behind me, there's still little bits of fireworks happening in the corner of the Thames where we are now, just in front of the Shard. And there's lots of people who are still waiting and gathering, wanting to see a little bit of the spectacular that they were promised, at least on TV at least. But spectacular but brief, I would say, at this corner of the River Thames. But you never know, there might be a little bit more up London sleeve for this corner of the river. But the Shard, still spectacular, with it sort of being lit up and that wonderful brief but beautiful blaze of fireworks on the Millennium Bridge behind me. But as we say, this fireworks spectacular spread out across various London landmarks, not concentrated in that one particular area, as we've seen in New Year's Eve's past, and a celebration, a 30-minute spectacular that Sadiq Khan promised, spread out, remembering events of the past year, but also looking to 2022 with a bit more optimism.
And as you were saying earlier, Caterina, of course, because of restrictions, London is a great deal quieter than it would ever be. It's not the case that there are lots and lots of people down in London at the moment. They're all just staying inside. The bars and the restaurants are quite deserted.
Yeah, we've had teams. My colleague was in central London in Soho this evening, and there were plenty of empty seats in restaurants, bars, busy-ish, but certainly not the volume that you'd expect on normal New Year's Eve. Points along the river where, as you say, on a normal year you'd expect deep rows of people waiting for many hours. I mean, I covered a New Year's Eve celebration, I think 3 years ago, and we had to be there at 6 p.m. just in order to get that prime spot. But now, you know, people turning up 5 minutes before, hoping to get a glimpse of New Year's Eve that felt maybe a little bit more normal. I think in these uncertain times, a bit of a more normal New Year's Eve is something that everyone was looking forward to. But certainly, you know, we were told the official event was cancelled. We were told there would be something. No one knew exactly what it was. The crowds that were standing here, I mean, I don't know if you can see behind me, there are still people waiting and looking just to see if there's anything further happening on this part of the river. It doesn't appear like there will be. A lot of things looking like they're happening actually slightly further down towards Tower Bridge, and the Shard still setting off a few beams of light, but certainly not the New Year's Eve fireworks that we have known from times past. Something slightly different, something slightly more in keeping with the times that we all find ourselves in. And even though we might not, have that great big grand display, certainly something very special, very resonant about hearing the chimes of Big Ben at midnight on New Year's Eve. I think for many people that is the sound of New Year's Eve, and whatever happens with the fireworks, that sound remains the same.
Caterina, thanks very much. Let's return to James Matthews, who's up in Edinburgh for us. James, the last time we spoke to you, you were joined by some other youngsters who are up past their bedtime, just like you are. What is the mood like? Has there been anything to mark the passing of 1 year into the next where you are?
Yeah. I mean, the mood's good, actually, Jenna. There's a great deal of warmth. Caterina's talking about the sound of New Year's Eve. Well, we found the sound of Hogmanay. I'll step out a shot so you can see the young man laying on the sole piece of entertainment on Edinburgh's Golden Mile tonight. And good luck to him too. You can see the crowd, if we just pan to the right, see the kind of crowd that's gathered. I would say there's several hundred people in the West End of Princes Street tonight. Many of them were expecting fireworks, actually. I know that because that's what some people have told me. They didn't realise there had been a cancellation. Let's speak to a couple of people who are gathered here today. Hello, where have you come from?
Aberdeenshire.
Aberdeenshire. What do you make of this? It's a bit quieter.
It is. We came down in for the Hogmanay party, but got cancelled, so we're disappointed. So.
Did you buy tickets?
Yes, we did. Yeah.
Did you know it was cancelled before you came down?
Well, we did, but when we came down, everything else was still going on, and the day we came, everything else got cancelled.
Oh, well, sorry you've had a quiet night. What do you think, mate?
Oh, it's not great. It's a bit quiet, aye.
A bit quiet, you're not wrong there. Now, Jane, we bumped into a gentleman by the name of Pete Irvin. I don't know if you recognise that name, but he is the man who, for many years, organised Edinburgh's Hogmanay and made it what it became. There's a lot of good humour about tonight, a lot of rotten jokes. Pete Irvin, here you are. Hello, Pete. Live on Sky News again. You are the man, for many years the guru of Edinburgh and everything it was at Hogmanay.
Well, it's very kind of you to say so, Jim.
Well,
you also were a very important guy as far as televising Edinburgh's Hogmanay to the world.
Well, thank you. But enough of this mutual appreciation.
Yeah.
Tell me, what do you make of this? This is nice, actually. A few hundred people. It's quiet, it's quite warm, people are feeling good, but COVID, and this isn't what Edinburgh is normally at New Year. What do you make of it?
Well, I'm here because, you know, I haven't been here for a couple of years, actually, and I just thought it would be great to come uptown, as it were. Great city, really mild, great night, a really convivial crowd, not too many people, and I'm really enjoying being here, so... I don't find it odd. It's COVID times. This is how it should be. No question that this should have been cancelled, as it was in London. They're not doing fireworks, and eventually we're not doing fireworks either. So I think that's the right thing to be doing. Yeah. I don't think this will continue.
You say you're enjoying this tonight. What are you enjoying?
Well, I'm enjoying that I can just come up here and walk around and not get hassled by anybody and not be responsible for anything here, you know, and just to enjoy it, the moment of being here in my city.
All right, thanks very much indeed, Pete. There is that freedom in not having the responsibility. Hello. Oh, do you? Oh, yeah. You want to wish us a Happy New Year? Yeah. You're live on Sky News.
Yeah. Oh, Happy New Year.
And Happy New Year to you.
Sweden, just to celebrate New Year's here in Edinburgh.
Oh wow! Yeah. And what do you think of this? A bit quieter than?
Yeah, quite quiet. We are a little bit sad, but we don't have like to say anything. But it's nice to be here. Yeah, and celebrate here. She coming from Sweden, but I am from here, from Edinburgh.
Oh, yeah.
I'm normally from Morocco, but I live from Edinburgh. Oh, yeah.
Fantastic.
Yeah. And we have all our family to come see the fireworks, but it was like shorter, but nice.
Yeah, well, very short, wasn't it? It was the 1 o'clock gun at midnight.
Yeah. Happy New Year's for you and for everyone.
Yeah, thank you very much. And Happy New Year to you too. Hello there, sir. Where are you from? Where are you from?
From India.
India. What do you make of all this?
Yeah, it's amazing, but like we are waiting for some firecrackers, but it's not there. So yeah, we are a bit embarrassed for that, but it's fine. It's amazing in Edinburgh. It's amazing.
Great. Well, glad you're enjoying it. Sorry about the fireworks. What do you think of this?
Yeah, we really we came here, like not only us, like so many people come here to enjoy something. Like it's not in Scotland, everywhere else people to enjoy something the New Year, but that's our aim, to at least enjoy something, but nothing happened.
Thanks very much. I hope you enjoy the rest of your time. Let's take a walk through the crowd. Let's walk this way, walk ahead of me, and the dancing has started, at least one. Straight ahead, just to the right of the Piper. I wonder if this young man will have a quick chat with us, if he can break into his pipe playing. Hello, mate. Sorry, that's really rude, stopping you playing the pipes. We'll keep it brief. You are the one piece of entertainment at Edinburgh's Princes Street tonight. Why?
I enjoy playing the pipes, and I come up here a bit I've been here a bit during Christmas, so I thought I might come up again.
Yeah, well, your music is fantastic, and being enjoyed by several hundred people here tonight from around the world, that must make you feel good.
Yeah. Good to know people actually like my music.
Yeah, great. Well, crack on, mate. Thank you very much indeed. And, well, providing the service that many people in Princes Street tonight have welcomed. Let's take one last look at the crowds. Several hundred, as I say, missing the firework, but enjoying Scotland's capital city. The castle high up to the left, as you can see, lit blue for Scotland. But we're not seeing the fireworks we normally see in Scotland's capital tonight. Maybe next year.
James, thanks so much. And on the subject of blue, we must apologise for the rather colourful language that you may have picked up on a little bit of James's broadcast earlier. We can't control the crowds, unfortunately. Some of those out there on the streets seeming to have no regard for that. There are young children very nearby. But James Matthews soaking up the atmosphere in Edinburgh for us. Let's cross from Edinburgh to Cardiff, and Dan Whitehead is there. And down at Cardiff Bay, it was going to be a smashing night, wasn't it? There were fireworks planned, there was a lot of celebrations. Jolly quiet, though.
Pretty quiet. We said there were no fireworks, then of course there were some fireworks, but no official displays. There you go. There's some people who've brought their boats down to the bay, and they set off a little bit of a display. I would say a couple of hundred people had gathered down here in Cardiff Bay to watch those modest fireworks, and they've all dispersed. But it really has been a quiet night right across the Welsh capital. That really is the story from the clubs, where the takeaways are, and the bars, walking around there. This, of course, should be an absolutely heaving night for Cardiff's nighttime economy, but they were dead this evening. We were counting on one hand the number of people in some of the biggest bars, and the nightclubs are shut completely, not allowed to open here in Wales, and there's tougher rules as well in the bars, the rule of six, and only being served at the table. We can just have a little look around here behind me here. There's just a handful of people now in the restaurants down here in Cardiff Bay. They, of course, have been busy tonight. They've been fully booked, but they've had to have reduced capacity in a lot of cases. And down here in the Bay Area by the Millennium Centre, this would usually be heaving with thousands of people, as you say, who would have planned to have come down and celebrated the New Year coming in with the fireworks. But those crowds simply are not here this evening. And what a lot of people have done in Wales is left the country and fled over the border to England, not just down here in South Wales, Wrexham to Chester, but certainly going across from Cardiff to Newport over to Bristol. We were over in Bristol earlier today, and every single train that was coming into Bristol Temple Meads had plenty of young Welsh groups of friends from Swansea, from Port Talbot, from Cardiff, from Newport, coming for the nights over in England, where, of course, the restrictions are fewer. People can go night clubbing. They can meet up with as many people as they want to. And so they had decided not to stay in Wales for the New Year celebrations and instead head over to England. So that's what a lot of young people did. But for those who did go out here in Wales tonight in the bars, we were chatting to them, and they were saying it really doesn't have the atmosphere that they were hoping for, but they're going to make the most of it and try and have a good night. But certainly the area is clearing now. Of course, what the Welsh Government didn't want to do with Omicron cases rising is to see the big crowds gathering down here. So that public message has worked, and we have not seen, despite it being incredibly mild, of course, across the country and certainly down here in Cardiff tonight, very mild temperatures, which, of course, would have meant it would used to be heaving down here. But people have heeded the advice, stayed at home to watch any form of celebrations and not gone out in the city. Not good, though, for the economy because some of the bars and the owners and the managers that we've been speaking to actually decided not to simply open. We were in Newport a couple of hours ago where Le Pub, the chain pub there, had been planning a big glitter ball event. They decided to simply shut their doors. They didn't want to put their staff through the pressure of having to tell customers at midnight, you've got to stay seated, don't get up, don't go and hug that person and say Happy New Year. And they said that was going to be too difficult for their staff, so they decided to shut the pub entirely. Crowds here, or what was a few crowds, are now starting to disperse. It's been a very quiet night in the Welsh capital.
It certainly has, Dan. Thanks very much. Well, let's take you back to London and we can refresh our memories as to how some of the fireworks went. We've got some footage now of the fireworks that were set off at Greenwich. Let's take a look.
Platinum Jubilee Line train to
2022.
Our first stop is
Carnival.
Exit here for
Culture, colours and sound. Funny floor.
Wembley. Exit here for
football's greatest moments.
The men did us proud in the Euros last year. Can the women go one better? The players take the knee, united in their stance against racism. Again and again, they stream forward, looking for an opening. This looks promising and... Oh, that is brilliant! That is world class! The crowd goes wild. The country goes wild.
We hope to see you in London for the UEFA Women's Euros. 2022 will be huge for sport across.
Well, those pictures courtesy of BBC Events showing us how we marked it in London. Let's see how people around the world have been celebrating the arrival of the new year, including in Hong Kong, Australia and Greece. the celebrations there from around the world, and a very happy new year to all of you viewers from all of us here at Sky News. We're going to take a short break.